Just
And
let me
we're
know.
live.
Okay, cool. Hey, folks, thanks for tuning in to the Bamf Podcast. This is your host, Mike Lafferty, and we're here to talk comics and geek out and movies and, general geekery. And here today we have, I guess, our usual panel, we could call them. Aid Smith, how you doing, Aid?
Hello, not too bad, thank you.
Walt Rebelliard, how you doing, Walt?
Caffeinated, ready to go.
Awesome. Jacob Blackman, how you doing, Jacob?
Not as nearly caffeinated.
that strangely worked out.
I think you need to drink some more coffee. It might help your connection. So we are losing you. And we have Christopher McLaughlin, last but not least. How you doing, Chris?
I'm just back from the dentist. You can probably hear how clean my teeth are.
I was wondering what that sound was. That's impressive. That's squeaky. All right. So, let's just get it out of the way. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Spoilers. We're going to talk about shit that happens in the movie. So, who's seen it?
Me?
Okay.
Everyone, I think.
No, not this guy, but spoil it.
I didn't, shockingly enough.
Well, hold on. Okay, did you see the first one?
Yes.
You saw the second one.
I'm good with that.
I think the second one is funnier.
No.
You don't think so? I thought they were.
I can't agree with you there. I'm sorry.
Okay, all right.
I at least think it was as funny. I wouldn't say it was less funny or more funny. I enjoyed as much as I did the first one.
I will say that they open with this big setup for this big fight scene. They're going to fight this horrible monster coming, and they've been hired to protect this, MacGuffin. And you see the fight only in the background. And in the foreground is Baby Groot dancing to some 70s song. I just thought that was delightful and put me in a good mood for the rest of the movie.
I nudged my wife and I whispered to her, "This is the anti-Zack Snyder superhero movie."
Yeah, and
if you'd given that exact same scene to him, well, first of all, there'd be no Baby Groot, first of all. And, this would be in the middle of a city, and there'd be millions of people killed, and you sure as heck wouldn't be hearing Electric Light Orchestra.
It's I just thought it was, we have a huge special effects budget, but you know what? Here's a dancing tree, and you can catch the action in the background, and it just worked. It was great, and
oh yeah.
My second observation would be how much you like Kurt Russell might determine your enjoyment of the second act of the movie, or especially the climax, because he just gets to choose scenery a lot.
Well, everybody loves Kurt Russell. It's just you don't always love the movies he chooses to be in.
So can it be actually said that this is sort of like a Tango and Cash reunion film?
Only in the fact that Kurt Russell and Sylvester Stallone are in the movie, but they never actually interact with each other.
That hurts my soul. So I got to know, in the trailers, Mantis, she gets decked by some asteroid or something like that. Did she make it through?
Yeah.
She just got knocked out in that scene.
Yeah, they save it all up for one big death, and it's not her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and they actually handled that pretty well. I thought it was gonna be a little cheesy, but there was a surprising amount of gravitas for being Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah. It's they're great fun, but I mean it's a film that has some shades to it.
Although I gotta tell you, that scene at the end where they're setting up Stallone for a spinoff or whatever, I mean, it's cool, I guess. I just don't know why I want to see more Stallone in a superhero movie, but anybody have any idea what they're doing with that?
Oh, did you pay attention to the characters and who they were?
Apparently not as close as you did, Jacob. Why don't you clue me in?
They were the original Guardians of the Galaxy.
What?
Because you had Charlie 23 there, the big giant guy, and if you look at their names, they're all variations of the original Guardians of the Galaxy, the ones from like the future.
Vance Astro was there.
Stallone was Vance Astro.
No, he was Starhawk.
Yeah, wasn't there two Starhawks? Isn't there a man and a female Starhawk?
Oh, you're right.
Well,
there were two Starhawks.
I think Vance Astro is the only one that's missing, from what I remember. And obviously Yondu's on the... Yeah.
Yes.
Well, goddamn, I'm glad I asked you about this, Jacob, because I missed that completely. I failed my geek knowledge roll. Damn. Okay.
Now,
Well,
every time they did something during the end credits, I was like, "Oh my god! Oh my god!" And one of my roommates, Alicia, who is not as much into comics, but she loves the movies. I inform her of the Easter eggs later, and she was like, "Oh, that's pretty cool."
yeah, I guess that's what you're doing for me here, because I even read the original Guardians.
And you know, speaking of the post-credit scenes, I hope and pray Stan Lee lives to be 150 if that's what he wants. But if we never ever got another Stan Lee appearance in the movie, the line that he ends with in the post-credit scene, what a great finish that would be.
Just for our listeners, what was that line, Chris?
Well, they sort of play off this fan theory that all of Stan Lee's cameos in all the Marvel movies are because he's a watcher. Mm-hmm. And they have a couple of cutaway scenes where Stan is boring all the other watchers with his stories, sitting there in a spacesuit. And in the post-credit sequence, they finally have enough and just wander off as he's in the middle of like his 80th long-winded story. And then Stan says, and if you just think about it, Stan Lee saying this, he goes, "Wait, where are you going? I've still got lots of stories to tell."
That would be a suitable ending to Stan Lee's eclectic cinematic career.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to top Tony Stank, but that was just that had another layer in it for me.
Yeah, I like Stan Lee. Okay, it's just the more I know about him, the less I like him.
Well, he's done a lot, and I think the more you do with your life, the more complicated the your life tends to be.
Well, the other thing you have to remember is he was a man of his time. That era had men doing just generally despicable things, and we're trying to be better than that now.
Well, now hold on a second. Okay. Can we truly say that Stan Lee has ever done anything that we know of that merits being called despicable? I mean, I understand that there's issues of credit. There's issue for him maybe taking credit for things he didn't do.
That's all I was going for.
And there's the big stripperella elephant in the room. But I don't know if I could ever say anything he's done is like despicable. I wouldn't go that far.
Well, okay. He should have given some more credit to his collaborators. But,
if he's padded his resume a little bit, on my current job, I got my current job with an application that says I graduated from the Time Lord Academy. Thank God they don't check that stuff.
I don't even. We interviewed someone recently at my job, and I think I'm the only one who thoroughly read the resume. My boss really wanted to hire this person, and I'm looking through, and I'm like, "Oh, this person has just pasted other job wanted ads into the experience section of past jobs. So instead of saying, I had this experience or I did this, it said, this experience, these skills are required, and applicant will be doing X, Y, and Z right there on the resume, and." But my boss really wanted to hire them, so I guess we're hiring them. But yeah.
That's tough.
Yeah, it's what are you gonna do? Life in the big city. All right, so Guardians of the Galaxy. I thought it was fun. I really enjoyed it. I liked it more than the first one. Sounds like everybody else not so much.
Oh no! Don't get me wrong. I absolutely adore the first movie. That's one of the most pleasant surprises I've ever had at the cinema. It's just, I think the second one is diminishing returns. But the first returns were so great, that still makes it better probably than just about any new movie that I'll see this year.
So it's not Cannonball Run 2 territory for you then?
Well, I don't know. I'm at a Cannonball Run 2. I'm at a Stockholm Syndrome point at, where I think I've just seen it so many times I'm starting to identify with it.
Oh God, are you joking?
No.
No. Okay, which one's
terrible?
Cannibal 1, 2. Which one's that one? I can never remember which one of the two they are.
That's the one where basically
Roger Moore.
He was in the first one, wasn't he?
Roger Moore's the first one.
The second one is one where Burt Reynolds is basically giving you the finger for like 2 hours that you paid to see this movie, to watch him and his friends. Yeah, lays through 2 hours of just, hey, just keep filming.
Is there more Captain Chaos in Cannibal Run 2?
Way more.
Yeah.
Way more. Yes.
No, I
Yes.
love both of them, so I don't care.
Yes. I mean, it's sort of like a proto Adam Sandler film. It's him and his buddies just slapping their dick in your face, saying, you paid to see this, you paid to see this. So yeah, but Burt Reynolds' friends are guys like Dean Martin. I'm okay with hanging out with him, even if he's just blatantly taking my money.
And speaking of blatant money grabs, I'm sorry, Walt, were you gonna say something?
No, I'm just here to look pretty.
In regards to before we move on from Guardians of the Galaxy, I have to say that in regards to the Marvel Cinematic Universe and all the stuff they're doing in space, I have to applaud them for keeping the general wacko 60s and 70s look to things, considering that's when all the Marvel space was and formulated. The fact that they're using primarily 70s music to introduce us to their space setting, whether it's Guardians of the Galaxy or the trailer for Thor, I think is a nice cohesion.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, the thing that I'll always love about these movies is they're superhero movies made from my playlists. So I mean, if nothing else, it's getting to hear my music collection coming out of a theater sound system. I'll always love that part of those films.
Alas, growing up during the metal boom of the 80s, I'll never have that pleasure.
Give it another 10 years,
That just means you have to make sure that if anyone ever does The Great Game as a movie or cartoon, you have to be in charge of the music and put in as much heavy metal as you want.
Well, yeah, my lawyer's been fielding the request to license that, so hopefully sometime soon. Sheila Balfe is showing a lot of interest. Speaking of wacky bullshit,
can I do one more? Can I do one more Guardians thing?
Please.
I need to talk to people that I love and respect like you guys about this. Okay, because I've been mulling the film over in my mind ever since I saw it. We went on Free Comic Book Day, went to Alamo Draft House, perfect way to kick off Free Comic Book Day, right? And there's just one scene in the entire film that I just doesn't quite work for me. And I need to know if I have a legitimate gripe here or I'm just overthinking it. But the scene after Yondu and Rocket break out of the cell on the pirate ship, and we get like the
big bonding moment.
Well, that's not what I remember it for. Okay. But we get like this 3-minute sequence set to a 70s pop song where it's just Yondu and his arrow just straight murdering hundreds of guys. Now, granted, they're like space pirates, and they've been throwing people out the airlock in previous scenes in the movie, and probably would have gladly killed our heroes. But I'm just sitting there thinking, like, there's a limit to how funny I can find, dozens of people being straight murdered by our ostensible hero. I was just sitting there thinking, like, I'm not finding this as funny as I think the filmmaker wants me to think this is. Am I just getting old and hypersensitive? But I didn't hate it, but I was just sitting there thinking, like, I can't laugh at this. This just is. I just don't think this is all that funny.
I was actually laughing out loud during that scene.
I didn't consider it a funny scene.
Because I really got the sense that James Gunn wanted to be yucking it up as these guys keep getting impaled.
Well, maybe I'm the target demographic for that, and you guys weren't. I was really amused by that scene, but it was. There's times where you get violent slapstick like that, and then the fact that he could sell. Cover your ears, Walt. The fact that he could sell Yondu's death later in the movie and give it some gravitas after that kind of scene, I guess speaks to his talent as a filmmaker. But I could definitely see your point.
Yeah, especially after his previous career of making some of the most inessential cinema in human history. You know, if now he's turned out one of my all-time favorite movies and a film that, that's all I have to complain about. I mean, if the film's like 2.5 hours, that's the one thing that didn't work for me. You got to take that batting average.
Yeah, my wife liked it less than the first one because she's not a big fan of Kurt Russell, and
Oh my God, you're kidding!
there are people out there who don't like Kurt Russell. I know it's hard to believe, but
Oh my God,
yeah.
it's like, does she hate pizza and ice cream?
and puppies make her nauseous, but
Oh
yeah.
man.
So yeah, it's a thing. So, hey, speaking of things, the Button mini event in DC right now. You guys, who's reading DC these days?
A little bit.
I just this week read the Batman issue that ties into it, and the most recent Flash issue that tied into it, Flash 22, where Jay Garrick makes a very a brief cameo. And Reverse Flash dies, apparently at the hand of Dr. Manhattan. I gotta tell you guys, I'm kind of reading this as Watchmen fan fiction.
Well, we still haven't seen theoretically. There's still nothing to say they're definitely Watchmen. The rumor going around is one that's going to be Superboy Prime. That was, and that could be something to do with Dr. Manhattan. It could be something to do with, I don't know, but that's why I've only read the first 2 issues, and I thought that was quite interesting in the simple fact that it's like, hey, it's the Button. Look, it's something obviously from Watchmen. There's nothing Watchmen-like at all in the book itself, apart from the panel layouts. That's literally the only thing that refers to the original books.
Wasn't there a
big giant blue hand?
Yeah.
That's at the end of the second. That's at the end of what? That's in Flash 22. The first 2 parts have got nothing in it.
Oh,
And thank God it was a hand.
yeah, that's true.
No.
Dr. Manhattan could have been anything. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a big blue hand in yeah.
Yeah, but that's literally the only thing we've seen.
Well, okay. I would bet you money that it's Dr. Manhattan, but
I think I don't know. I mean, I know obviously we've got Doomsday Clock, and they're saying I don't even think as of yet they still haven't sold Doomsday Clock as.
He literally quotes the narration panels. Literally quote Watchmen. We're all puppets. I'm just a puppet who can see the strings.
Yeah, I just don't know if it's going to be a direct Dr. Manhattan is the bad guy thing, like he's the anti-Monitor. I think there's going to be something a bit more clever with it. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
And speaking of surprise reveals, we were just talking about. Well, Jacob, you want to take this one? You were talking about it earlier.
Oh, in regards to what's going on with Marvel?
Yeah. Since mocking Marvel is now kind of the new geek pastime, since we've all decided DC is okay suddenly. But
okay.
this new wacky Marvel thing that happened this week.
Yeah, just to clarify, I haven't actually read this. I was reading an article about the new Secret Empire series that's going on, and people in general have been displeased with the whole Cap has actually been a Nazi this whole time, especially considering if he was actually a Nazi this whole time, you think he would have done something during World War II and not the modern day. But anyway, so it's been revealed that they're managed to go with the ultimate cliche ending to Secret Wars _2, and instead of rewriting everything and just saying no, that never happened, there is another time traveling Steve Rogers out there that is trying to set things right.
Now I'm wondering if it's the time traveling Steve Rogers from when he was shot back during Brubaker's run after the end of Civil War.
That's true. Yeah, that was a 5-issue time travel doodah, wasn't they? Yeah. But the interesting thing is, from what we've seen of the shots from the last page, he's in an army uniform, not in a Captain America uniform. But he's also muscular. So it's not like pre-Captain America Steve. this is obviously someone that's undergone a super soldier serum thing. Otherwise, he'd be little skinny Steve, wouldn't he? So
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's why I was thinking maybe it was time travel Steve from Civil War. But
Yeah.
you know, I don't know.
The only other thing I could think of is maybe it's time travel Steve from, you know, Avengers Forever, which is the last Marvel time travel story I actually enjoyed because, you know, Busiek.
Yeah, that's cool.
You know, the Kang War they've been doing with Mark Waid's Turn of the Avengers has been really great. As far there's as far as time travel superhero stories go, so just got to recommend that.
The other and the kind of semi-annoying thing about Secret Empire is the simple fact that they've decided to stick a 10th issue on the end of it, and it was 1 of 9. Now it's we're doing a 10th now. Now the last that did that was for Civil War 2 because they reckoned that the ending was so shite they decided to change it and they put another one in there because it deserved a better ending effectively. Whether or not this is something that they just didn't pace it correctly or somebody's come up on the internet exactly how it's going to pan out so they've decided to change it, no idea. But the 10th issue is just interesting.
Yeah, just because Walt was asking what's happening in Kang War in the main Avengers book. They've been fighting Kang in like 3 different eras with 3 different teams of Avengers from different eras, and they almost do like a heist movie type thing, like Ocean's 11. Like, you know, this team's going to this era to take care of this part of Kang's operation. This one's going to ancient Egypt to do that. This one's going to the far future. And if we all strike at the same time on our synchronized watches, we can get the result we're looking for. And it's just the plotting's been really great, and it's Mark Waid. So
and how many parts has the story gone on for?
A whole bunch, just a whole bunch. It just finished up this last month.
So it's a big long story.
Yeah, and
we're not talking like a little 4-part or a 6-part. We're talking something substantial that's kind of grown into it.
It's been at least 6 issues on this.
Yeah, because this is the thing. Because DC done pretty much exactly that story for JLA, where you've got Superman visiting someone visiting the Legion of Superheroes, someone visiting ancient Atlantis, someone but it's a 3-issue story or 4-issue story. Now, what you've said about that sounds more substantial than the Justice League one, because people are saying about the Justice League Rebirth book, when it was the New 52 book, every kind of like it was a core book because a lot of the characters you've not seen anywhere else, like the first appearance of Doom Patrol, the first appearance of this, the first appearance of that, would appear in JLA. First Shazam would appear in JLA. This one just seems to be like, let's just knock 6-issue stories out that don't really count about anything. So they sound very, very similar stories, but the JLA one doesn't sound like it's going to be remembered as being like, oh my god, do you remember the epic one where they travelled to a different... It just seems to be, yeah, there's just 6 issues, get it over and done with, move on to the next story.
Well, the actual fighting, the part I just described was about 3 issues worth, and there was a bunch of lead up to that, and there was some foreshadowing, and Vision was getting hurt.
Marvel do seem to allow a slow burn.
Yeah.
For stuff, whereas, like I say, the JLA stuff tends to be like get it out. From what I've read of the JLA stuff in the moment, which is every issue since Rebirth, is the 4-issue stuff seems to be very, very self-contained, and they doesn't really pan on to the next stuff. Whereas if it was a Marvel book, or at least like Hickman stuff or anything like that, it would have been one story would have gone all the way through that, and then slowly we would have got to something now, rather than kind of like, hey, overdone, compartmentalized, moved on, next thing, next thing. So.
Yeah, I gotta say, I don't hear a lot of talk about what Wade's doing at Marvel. I think it's amazing. Mainly I hear criticism about some of the newer books they've launched with variations on old characters and all the crazy stuff with Cap. So, but I think Mark Wade's doing some of the best work of his career.
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
So, Walt, what are you reading these days?
Ooh, lots of stuff. As you can see from my little mural back there, the Marvel Star Wars has been amazing.
It really has.
It,
You've been reading the Screaming Citadel that just started?
Actually, I picked up an alternate cover while I was at the comic shop the other day. But it's been really, really good. I haven't read Screaming Citadel yet, but Vader was incredible. Just that one line in Vader sold the whole series for me when I saw it, and I had to pick it up. when he's during the Vader down thing, he crash lands on that planet. He's surrounded by rebels, and somebody says, "Give up, Vader! You're surrounded." And they just get this big sweeping shot of him being all the people aiming at him, and he just says, "All I'm surrounded by is fear and dead men." And I was like, "What? That is amazing!" So I mean, that's been really good. The Star Wars has been really good. I love. Oh my god! And that's why I had to go buy that issue back there. Love Scar Squadron. You know, the stormtroopers that are actually badass. I mean, they're so good, and you know, a diverse crew. The fact that Sergeant Creel, who is the new leader of the team, is actually an alien, so it kind of gives some credence to the fact that you know, Palpatine just wasn't just some short-sighted. Everybody has to be a clone, or everybody has to be, you know, the same stormtroopery, blah blah blah. You know, he probably had somebody in the ranks saying we need to pad the forces with people who actually can do what they need to do. So that's been really good. I just finished Empress from Millar or Miller or however you want to say it. That was really good. That was you know, it's about a cocktail waitress who gets married to a galaxy-spanning warlord, and then decides that that's not a good environment for her children. So she takes off with her bodyguard, and they get chased around the galaxy by the warlord who wants her back. And the great thing about it is you have it actually takes place several 100 million years in the past. So you know, like when they go to execute somebody, all arena style and stuff like that, they're usually eaten by a T-Rex. So I mean, it's oh my god, it's such a good book. And a couple of weeks ago, I had the pleasure of hanging out with Bob Sally, who's one of our friends who does indie comics up in Massachusetts, and he was doing signing. So there were some other folks with him, and I managed to snag this really nice sketch cover that was all the money was donated to charity for the first issue. So if you want, Mike, I think that we should give one of our listeners that sketch cover as a reward for listening today. So, you know, you can do your usual thing and as a giveaway, and we can hook that up. But that's been really good. The DC stuff has been amazing, and they just did the I think it's Flash 22, the one where he teams up with Batman. You know,
oh yeah, that's the one I was reading.
Yeah,
actually, just before this, yeah.
What? Why doesn't this happen all the time? You have the greatest detective of all time and the greatest forensic analyst of all time. Why do these two not team up all the time? Is it just because the Flash is so annoying?
Because no, I think it's more because Batman is usually portrayed as a dick.
They make a lot more sense as a team up than Green Lantern and Flash do.
Right. I mean, although I gotta say, Green Lanterns, the Baez Cruz, I think their names are. I'm terrible with names. But the two Green Lanterns, those guys are. That's a fun book, and deep too. We talked about it a couple of weeks ago, but I mean that's been really amazing. But the biggest danger to me actually getting stuff done lately has been somebody sent me a free trial of Comixology Unlimited. Like, yeah, right? Yeah, I'm like shit. Because all these books...
It's going to be on this thing for hours.
Oh, God. It's so tough. Because I sit there and I'm like, all right, I'm not going to read any more tonight. The other night I read getting ready for... we're going to go see the new Alien movie this weekend. And so I read a bunch of the Dark Horse stuff. And every time I went to shut down, it's like, hey, did you realize that this title is now on Comixology Unlimited as well? You should put that in your borrow pile, you know. So you're just like, crap, man. Oh, it's just every time they launch something new, I'm just like, how do I put this down? Crap, I gotta go to work. You know. So I mean, that's been really good. They have they just put Lazarus on there. Brubaker's Velvet.
Velvet's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I read it when it actually came out in books, but I mean, you know, just to have it digitally and be able to borrow it whenever you want, sit down and read it, right on. So yeah, there's a lot of good stuff. But I got to give one shout out to a local guy. There's a guy in Rhode Island that's putting out a great book called Nightmare Patrol. And the artist on starting from issue 2 is a local guy, Mr. Washington. If you're out there listening, we love you. It's just only being really sold online and in local shops, and fun little monsters are the investigators title. There's a couple of those out right now, but it's just a fun little romp. Great looking book though. It's meaty. It's thick, real cardstock covers, nice interiors with really glossy pages, fun art. It's just really, really good. So yeah, I'm suffering from a nightmare of brilliance all around me, and it's if that's my nightmare every night, I'm good to go.
Well, it's a good problem to have, that's for sure. Hey, wanted to give a shout out to Alan Wilkinson. He's one of our listeners who's apparently listening right now, and he weighed in on the Yondu's revenge scene. In his words, Yondu's revenge wasn't funny; it was awesome. So. Also, people are setting fire to cars underneath his flat block. As he says flat block, I'm assuming he's there from the UK. And dude, that sucks. I'm sorry to hear about that. Hey, are you still reading Future Quest?
I've only got up to issue 11. I've not got the last one yet.
Anyone else reading Future Quest besides me and Aid?
I'm reading it. I've read issue 12, so I'm all the way caught up.
Okay. Well, shit, I don't want to spoil it for Aid.
Totally understandable. All I can say is it was very enjoyable.
Good stuff.
It's yeah,
good stuff, and I hope they do more.
Yeah, I would agree on both of those things. I don't want to go into too many details. Don't want to spoil it for Aid, but they wrapped it up nicely. They took a while for the event to really get going. I'm just kind of hoping we actually see these characters hang out in DC for a while. It's not another. Chris, what was that line that DC kind of absorbed and then hurriedly spit back out? Was it Red Circle?
They did it with Red Circle, and they kind of did the same thing with the Milestone titles.
Yeah.
Because that happened about the same time.
There's still talk of Milestone 2.0 coming, but as of yet, it hasn't arrived, has it? So.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, if not integrating it with the rest of the DC universe is probably the absolute best thing. There's some things that work because they're outside of the mainstream DC universe and in some ways comment on it. Stuff like the Authority, putting those characters in the mainstream DC universe. The only more WTF thing that DC's ever done is put the Watchmen characters in the DC universe. It just utterly baffles me. I mean, just both to me are signs that you just fundamentally don't understand what makes these characters work to begin with.
No, I think if they put Milestone on its own, if they wanted it to actually be part of the universe, but put it on its own Earth, and then made I can't remember the main guy, the Superman analog of that Earth. Icon, there we go. Yeah, that would work.
Yeah,
perfectly fine. So yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah. But yeah, it'd be cool. I'd like to see it. It'd be rather good.
Speaking of alternate universes DC publishes, anyone reading the new Wildcats?
Yeah. What you mean, Wildstorm?
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm only
about to get excited.
2 issues into it. So.
Yeah, sorry. Well, I mean, they got Warren Ellis writing it again. The last time it was cool was when Warren Ellis was writing it. I've read the first couple, and they were just okay. The reviews for the stuff I haven't read have just been, comparing it to, awesome action movies, which is kind of what Warren Ellis does. So, I don't know. I'm checking it out. I'm liking what I'm seeing so far. I'm kind of that place with Warren Ellis where I am with Alan Moore, where I can figure out where he's going before he gets there, and that kind of steals some of the fun from it. But
I quite like the idea that it's finite, that there's 24 issues and that's it. Because I think the guy's got a plan. If he's got 24 issues, he's obviously got a plan. He's not going to say, let's do 24 issues. I've scripted 6. I've got no idea after that. You hope if he's got 24 issues said he's going to do it, they've got 24 issues planned. So I think hopefully we will see something quite cool.
Yeah, I mean, I'm willing to. I mean, he's definitely earned some leeway. I mean, his Moon Knight he made the character fun again. and everyone's been kind of, to the degree they've been able to imitate his style in that book is, I think, whether it's entertaining or not. So yeah, I'll follow Ellis whatever he does. I just it's such a book, it almost seems like it's like, belongs in the 90s in a way. I mean, like some of the good stuff in the 90s and early thousands. So I'm eager to see what they do with it. I just I don't know. I guess we'll know more as it goes along. So
Hey, did anybody read the Space Ghost that was put out not too long ago?
Are you talking about the Green Lantern mashup crossover?
No, the Space Ghost. I saw it in the bookstore.
Origin story?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got that. The art was just gorgeous. And,
Is this the reprint of the Copial series?
I forget. I forgot to pay attention to the writer. Sorry. I thought it was pretty well done. The art was beautiful. The writing was neat. I think it could have used for more. There were a couple of times where it seemed more like a heavy metal story where it didn't seem quite cohesive, but when it wrapped up, you pretty much knew what was going on.
Speaking of heavy metal stories, my local comic shop, which is called I Want Comics up here in Northside Denver, they started doing a monthly book club at their shop. They got a back room where usually they have Magic tournaments, and one night of the month, they put the chairs in a circle and let's talk about a book. And I came to a meeting when it was Brubaker's Criminal, which I think is an awesome book, and the month afterwards I missed, and this next month is Metabarons, so I'm checking that out. And I gotta say I'm enjoying it. It's kind of like definitely science fantasy, sort of feels like sort of like Star Wars comics from Marvel in the 70s. But if anyone asked me to describe it, I'm just like, it's weird French science fiction shit. I don't know how else to say it.
Who draws and writes it?
Mobius draws it. I don't have it in front of me. Yeah, it's
So we're talking European sci-fi.
Yeah, European.
So we're straight into Barbarella territory. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, straight into
Barbarella.
I mean, there's
Just what I love.
Yeah, I'm on page 43, and the main character was just castrated, but he's cool with that because he gets a cybernetic, whatever you want to call it, and
penis, I believe, is the standard term.
Don't embarrass me with your sophisticated liberal Oklahoma ways there, Jacob.
That's a scientific term. You're allowed to say it.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
Wherever he is, Stan Lee is somewhere going, somebody found my second season Stripperella spec script.
Now, there was a 10,000 word think piece on Stan Lee on Vulture.com. And God help me, I waded through most of it one evening. And the guy made an interesting point that Stan announces a lot of new projects every year, like Stripperella. And like Stripperella, most of them kind of have a few issues and then just stop. And he's on to something else.
Yeah. Didn't Stripperella get an animated series as well, though?
Yeah, well, that's where it started, as I recall. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
He did just have that one season, so yeah.
Yeah. Strange stuff.
Yeah, but apparently
you were mentioning.
So go ahead.
You were mentioning heavy metal, and actually, I was reading up on heavy metal recently. Kevin Eastman has been getting together with Robert Rodriguez, and they are trying to get a new heavy metal movie going. They were really unhappy with the second one produced, the one that was called Fact 2, I believe, because it was just one cohesive story. Yeah. They want to do something more like the original heavy metal, where it's a bunch of different stories that have something uniting them all. And but right now, the only thing that's stopping them is they're trying to get the money together.
Interesting thing about the linking thing you mentioned. Our local Alamo Draft House, the one in Loudon, which yes, I just plugged. I don't apologize. They actually booked the original heavy metal movie showed it like 10 o'clock on a Thursday night, sold like 35 tickets, which, you know, for a 36-year-old film, that's pretty good. And the version they booked had nothing, didn't have the linking stories. It didn't have anything with the little girl and the Lochnar and the Percy Rodriguez narration or any of that. And everybody on the little Alamo Film Club Facebook page was talking about how the movie still worked even without any linking material. And I honestly didn't even know there was a cut of the movie that didn't have the linking material. But it was just so funny that the film still worked.
I didn't know there was a second one. So that's...
Yeah.
2000, I think that came out.
Really?
Yeah, 2001.
That's
I like the first one. I love it so much. I have the soundtrack that I listen to every so often because I just think it's fantastic.
You're breaking up, Abe.
Oh, hello. I think everyone's breaking up.
We seem to be having quite a few technical difficulties.
Everybody's breaking up.
That's a drag.
Well, my excuse is I've got a massive storm outside and tornado warnings to the northwest tonight.
Nice.
It's actually...
I have a puppy.
It's snowing here in Denver.
Wow.
What?
Yeah, in May. So, yeah.
Is that allowed?
No, but it's happening anyway. So, Walt, you said you want to do a giveaway, and do you want to announce the email address they should send the entries to?
Yeah, so the giveaway will be for this really great sketch cover for Empress #1. And I'll send it out bagged and boarded and all safe and sound, and hopefully it'll reach somebody. Please, only folks in the United States, so that I don't get manhandled by shipping. And then
parentheses, to heck with you, Canada.
Well, every time I send something to Canada, it's like, oh, are you sending printed matter? Yeah, it's a comic. Oh yeah, well, there's this tariff and that tariff, and hold on a second, put your hands across the counter so we can hit you with a ruler.
We don't trust your Yankee ideas.
So yeah,
you might stir the people up.
If you can send your emails to superscbr@gmail.com, we'll turn all the emails over to Mike, and he'll pick a winner, and we'll send it out.
Yeah, all right, cool. Love to do giveaways. Yeah, on the Canadian angle, I had a friend who took a road trip through Canada, and she told me, how wacky talk radio in America talks about, weird conspiracy theories and, how their UN's going to invade Texas or whatever. Apparently, the wacky talk radio theory or theme they have recurring in Canada is United States, threat or menace?
And the answer to that is yes.
Well, Canadian, I just said Canada. I'm just going to drop the subject now, pretend that didn't happen, and move on. All right, so we've been talking for about an hour. We covered Guardians of the Galaxy, the Button mini event leading into the Doomsday Clock. I made a joke about it being Watchmen fan fiction. I was very happy about that. Future Quest ending, Stormwatch. Anything else we want to touch on, guys?
No, we need to start doing something called StormQuest.
That sounds like that should be a comic, right? That sounds like it would be at least an indie comic. Let me Google that.
Let's get to work on that immediately.
Deathstroke. Titans crossover looks very, very good. That's this month.
Why are you doing this to my wallet, Aid?
Well, I'm just saying.
He is currently coming through like a Dalek. He's going to be telling you evil things.
It really does sound like a Dalek.
Oh my God. 1987 StormQuest. In a female-ruled society where men are kept slowly for breeding, two women come together to believe that their society's treatment of men is wrong and lead them into revolt against the system.
I feel like I've just taken the red pill. Oh my God. That was really, somebody did that?
Someone did that. I don't recognize any of these writers or directors or actors.
Always a good sign.
So we're going to watch this and do Bamf Science Theater 1984.
Yeah, and after that, I will try and get the gaming rights. Because licensed properties are where it's at now, right? That's what gaming's all about these days. Oh,
Yeah.
don't scoff, Chris. You work for Green Ronin. You can't scoff at that.
Well, people come up to us. I mean, I'm gonna get at least 5 people at every Gen Con ask me, when are you guys getting the Marvel license? And my stock answer is, as soon as a company gets the Marvel license and doesn't go out of business.
Yeah, that's Margaret Weiss is still in business, kinda, right?
Well, they're a
Margaret
different
Weiss
company
handed
after the
off
Marvel
her
license.
RPG company.
Yeah, well, they're a different company after the Marvel license, and I say that with love because there's a lot of great people working for that company.
They did seem to go a bit shaky, didn't they, after it dropped off? It's very weird.
Yeah, who would have thought that dealing with Disney lawyers would end badly,
exactly,
right?
Yeah, they did get the Cortex system out of it, though, so that was pretty cool. So.
Yes, we should mention that our friend of the podcast, Cam Banks, is running the Cortex Prime Kickstarter right now. So if you like Marvel role
Speaking
playing,
of good people,
yeah, Cam is he's as good a person as you're going to find in the RPG industry. And
was that the back of your hand that I just tasted?
I was going for a sincere compliment. It just came out sounding like I was a dick, which sums up my life nicely. Anyway, he has raised almost $60,000 on a $30,000 goal with 10 days left. So you should check it out. Give Cam your money because he delivers, and it's a great system. And we've got some actual plays of Marvel Heroic role playing way back in the old days. Hell, Cam was nice enough to show up when we were having a rules argument about Marvel Heroic role playing. Jump on the podcast and clarify things for us right there on the air. So I can't say enough good things about Cam. He's fantastic. Although I kind of wish he was doing it solely as a super system because they're kind of billing it as a generic. This can do all kinds of stuff system, which is cool. Just I don't know. It kind of comes across as like a sales pitch for GURPS.
Oh, I thought they were doing stages. I thought there was going to be a super system, a core system, and then another one as well. But I don't know.
Yeah, I think
started the name. So.
Well, they have unlocked a bunch of settings. I mean, I'm really interested in is the super setting. I mean, some of these Citizen Swords against the Ogre King, a fantasy setting of resistance and revolution that's been described as Hamilton with orcs, which sounds cool as hell, and I would read that book. I just don't know if I want to play in that setting. I don't know if I could sell that to anybody I know who games. It's just my problem. Or if I could
throw in men only being kept for breeding purposes. There you go.
That's true. That would work.
Any setting gets a lot more information once you throw that in. So, hey, Chris, you're a big cinephile.
Yes.
This summer has been described as kind of a wasteland for movies. With episode 5 of various franchises. Pirates, Fast and Furious, Transformers, kind of dominating the release schedule. Do you have any gems you're looking forward to?
Well, I mean, if you're looking for great art in the summertime, you're usually better off sticking to Netflix or your own DVD collection. But as far as movies that won't make you pray for an asteroid to hit Earth and kill all life, honestly, the part of the great fun that I had seeing Guardians was it was preceded by the trailer for Spider-Man: Homecoming, which looks to be hilarious, fun, exciting, and absolutely perfect in terms of portraying that character. So, I mean, honestly, I think I enjoyed the Spider-Man trailer a little more than I enjoyed Guardians. That's how excited I am about it. And also, the Marvel Cinematic Universe has made me say 2 things I never thought I would say. Number 1, I'm looking forward to an Ant-Man movie. And number 2, they finally did it. I'm looking forward to a Thor movie. We got to see the trailer for Thor Ragnarok. And for once, I don't think I'm going to be sitting there for 2 hours feeling my butt getting numb about, with Niflheim and Sniffleheim and Gloria Steinemheim and Pepsiheim and whatever the hell else they've got there. This actually seems to be a Thor movie I can get into. So I'm looking forward to those 2. Maybe I don't know. Some people tell me maybe Wonder Woman won't make you want to gouge your eyeballs out. Okay, I'm not going to give the DC universe another chance to hit me. I'm finally leaving it for good this time. He's not going to sweet talk me back. But maybe Wonder Woman won't suck.
It had some really bad word of mouth from within Warner Brothers. Production, there were extensive reshoots like there are for most blockbusters or wannabe blockbusters these days. So I'm hopeful.
My whole thing is, Warner Brothers could have had Joss Whedon do their Wonder Woman movie, but they didn't like his take on the character, which forced him to go to Marvel and do the Avengers movies. And now they're handing Wonder Woman over to the same guy who gave us Sucker Punch.
So that's a bad thing.
Well, hey, we should probably wrap up here in a second. Any other thoughts, things we want to throw out there?
Yeah, Star Trek Discovery trailer came down yesterday.
What? Sorry,
Star Trek TV series.
The
Star Trek Discovery.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
The trailer is now out.
Has potential. Could be interesting. Don't like the redo Klingons. There you go. That's my summation.
Chris, you're a big Star Trek guy. Have you seen that?
I did. I watched it and I was like, wow. So Enterprise got another season.
That is very true. Yes.
Yeah. I didn't see anything there that makes me think that it just won't be another Enterprise season. And God, I hope I'm wrong. I so hope that I'm wrong. But it just didn't. I didn't see enough of the retro touches to get me excited about the prequelness of it, and I didn't see enough innovation there to make me excited about this being a bold new vision of Roddenberry's original concept. It really did just strike me as like Enterprise Season 5. But hey, better Enterprise Season 5 than Voyager Season 8, so I'll give them that.
No, Star Wars is having pretty good luck with animated TV shows. Rebels been pretty good. Clone Wars was at least passable. I don't know. It's sort of be nice to Star Trek would experiment with that. A low cost, straight to Netflix kind of.
Well, there was not long after Enterprise actually got canceled, they did some pre-production work on a Trek animated series that was going to take the timeline forward into the future, but it was going to be a future where the Federation was beginning to fall apart. And there had been some major changes for the ill in the galaxy, and the galaxy had gotten darker and dangerous and more interesting. And honestly, that got me more excited about Trek than anything has since I first saw the trailer for Star Trek 2. And I was I was so brokenhearted that it never got past pre-production, because just the setup of that show had real potential to be something very good.
So that's why Discovery. I'm just happy there's more Star Trek. That's
well.
Yeah,
well, I mean,
I'm glad
okay,
that they've actually gone back to the well and done it.
Okay, let me play the trailer another compliment. It didn't look like a fucking Mountain Dew commercial. So yeah, if Discovery is good enough to finally put a stake in the heart of the Abrams verse, and that we can all just burn that to the fucking ground and forget that it ever existed, Discovery will be my second favorite Trek show if it does nothing else than kill off the Abrams verse.
So like you said about being a prequel, the odd choice about it is that it's 10 years before Kirk.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a lot of time to do something that's kind of like Enterprise 100 years or 8 years or whatever it was. Mm-hmm. At least there's some expansion there. You can actually go, okay, this is the first meeting with the Klingons. It's 10 years. There's not a lot of space. They're going to either have to. I think obviously what they're saying, they're going to delve into the canon and all this stuff that's kind of been mentioned in the past. That's kind of like. I can't remember what they said now. Anyway, but yes, I was going to say the Treaty of Algernon, but that's not right. But yeah, so it's interesting. It's definitely interesting. I think it's just an odd choice of a time period. I would have preferred, if they had the choice, I would have preferred something after the Next Generation. Yeah, because then you can do what you want. You can just carry on, and it won't make a difference. You haven't got to worry about, have they met the Ferengi yet? Have they met the Klingons yet? Have they met these? Don't worry about it. It's all done. We can make new people up. So yeah.
I think Jacob made a good point that was partially lost in the static from the storm that's plaguing his part of Oklahoma right now, which was that they made a TV show very similar to what you just described. It was Andromeda.
It was, but it was also, God, well.
Some of Kevin Sorbo's finest work, sir.
About Andromeda, it gives you about 13 episodes of of, well, this could turn into something, and 3.5 seasons of it is not going to turn into anything.
Well, if you want something alternative to Star Trek, there's always Orville.
Oh,
Which
Boy,
actually
that trailer
was
looked
quite
pretty
good.
Yeah.
I thought it looked pretty funny. Yeah, I was surprised.
I find Seth MacFarlane's stuff very hit or miss, but I laughed during the trailer. And honestly, if anything comes out of that show, it'll be awesome screenshots of aliens and starships, because those aliens looked cool, those starships looked cool.
That's true. It definitely didn't seem to scrimp on that. That's very true. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because they could have gone just like, hey, let's make all the aliens look like crappy 60s aliens, but they've actually done a good job about it. So yeah.
Yeah, they've actually got a budget, it looks like. Well, hey, anyway, we've got to wrap things up. Everybody, thanks for coming out, and our listeners, thanks for listening. We'll catch you next time on the Bamf Podcast.